Third Buckingham Scout Group has been in existence since 1945. And I've no idea what happened to the first Buckingham or the second Buckingham, but they seem to have been lost in the archive somewhere. So that means there's been scouting in Buckingham every week since then, and in many different locations, from the granary opposite the Hamilton House many years ago, Oddfellows Hall, and I believe it was even in the Chancery Chapel for a few weeks, and then Adams Close for a good many years, which was formerly a coal yard. Those of you who know Buckingham, that was originally a coal yard. And now we're in this fantastic facility here in Embleton Way. Nothing's changed that much over the years. The principle of scouting has remained the same. There's always been leaders running various sections. There has always been a GSL at the helm, and there's always been a group executive to ensure the smooth running of the group. What has changed is technology. We now have email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the internet, and the list goes on, leaving me far behind. I remember when we used to send home letters and newsletters, all on bits of paper. They used to get put in the pocket, put in the washing machine, and never read. I'm not sure much has changed since then. There's nothing wrong with change, and it's great that we can share our knowledge more freely and instantly, but sadly, it's made us now far busier than we've ever used to be. A lot more calls on our time. But still, the group goes on week in, week out. You leaders working tirelessly to deliver an interesting programme every week, and the exec working together to ensure the environment we have to run these programmes in remains safe and fit for purpose. This year has yet again been a very good year. It's a growth year in attendance. We now have 120 young people in the group, along with 18 leaders. Each section has a varied programme, has attended several district events, and last June we had a group camp where on the Saturday we had 90 young people in camp. And then there was 55 of those 90 were sleeping under canvas for 2 nights. Well, they were under canvas, but I'm not sure much sleeping went on. This, of course, could not be achieved without a fantastic leadership team. So, sincere big thank you to you all. Also, a big thank you to the group exec, who, without your support, this would not be possible. Especially Graham, who runs a very tight ship and keeps us in order. And without his support, we would not be where we are today. There's another especially, and that is John. John as treasurer, who tirelessly keeps the finances in order and is managing the subscriptions, which have been the best we've ever had. So he's doing a great job. Thank you, John. And he also spends quite a lot of time rewriting various policies and keeping us in order with the Charities Commission. So again, thank you, both of you. Now, you might be wondering why I asked you to visit some time visiting each section and seeing what they were doing. We chose a skill that was fairly easy to show how they can progress that skill they have learnt in the previous section. So with beavers, they were experimenting with coordinates, moving from one to the other. Then we moved into cubs, where they were learning about map references and how to find a position on a map. Then we went to scouts, and they were then applying those map references, planning a route, and working out escape routes, etc., so that when they actually go out on a hike, they know where they are, what time to come back, and if they're not back, for the leaders to start worrying, or not, as the case may be. Then we moved on to the explorers, who then were looking by cutting potatoes and making contours, so that we can show how the lines on a map then translate into a mountain or a hill. So it might look quite flat on the map, but by the time you get to it, it's a hill like that. So rather than taking 5 minutes, it takes 20 minutes to walk up the hill. So it's all part of planning. Now, it's just a way of showing you how they can improve that skill through Scouts. And that, to me, that's the important part. Your children can remain within the group from the age of 6 until they're 14 and a half, and then on into the explorers until they're 18. That's 12 years. Whilst I said earlier that nothing has changed over the years, there of course is something fundamental that has changed, and that's the people. For your young people to get the best out of Scouting, to ensure that your 6-year-old can still have the opportunity to plan an expedition, as they were doing over there, in 12 years' time, we must future-proof the group. We must ensure that we use the current leadership team, not just to train the young people, but to be able to train new leaders and helpers, and that includes me. After all, none of us get any younger, and our situations change, so we need to have people in the background. There's one thing that I'd like you to take away from this AGM, and that would be the realisation that we're in this all together, and to give some thought as to how you can ensure your children are still able to enjoy Scouting in the next 12 years and beyond. So please, please come and chat to me or Graham if you have any ideas or aspirations of getting involved. Talk to Anna, Elton, Paul and Lou, wherever you all are. These guys have come in the last 2 years, and I'm sure they've done things that they would never have dreamed of doing so. It does not have to be you as an individual. It could be a relation, it could be a friend or a neighbour. Or you've heard someone at school, at the school gate, who used to be involved in Scout and would like to get back in again. So let us all play a part in making sure this group is still here to celebrate 80 years of Scouting in Buckingham. Thank you.